Most people think anger is loud, shouting, explosions, doors slamming. But for the INFJ personality type, anger looks very different. Sometimes, you cannot even see it. An INFJ can sit quietly in a room, smile politely, listen carefully, and inside, a storm is forming. Not a chaotic storm, a silent one. Because the truth is this: INFJs do feel anger, deep anger, powerful anger, but they rarely show it. Instead, they hide it, they bury it, they analyze it, they try to understand it, and sometimes, they carry it for years. This creates a mystery around the INFJ personality. Friends wonder why the INFJ suddenly disappears. Coworkers wonder why the INFJ suddenly becomes distant. Partners wonder why the INFJ suddenly closes the door forever. And when that happens, people are shocked, because they never saw the anger coming. Today we explore the quiet emotional world of the INFJ, the rarest personality type in the MBTI system, the empath, the deep thinker, the silent observer. And we ask one powerful question: why do INFJs hide their anger? Not just a little, but completely. Understanding this will change how you see INFJs forever. It will also reveal something deeper. Because INFJ anger is not simple anger. It is emotional intelligence mixed with emotional suppression, compassion mixed with exhaustion, love mixed with deep disappointment. And when an INFJ hides their anger, it usually means something inside them is breaking. Slowly, quietly. Let us begin with the first reason. The first reason INFJs hide their anger is empathy. INFJs feel everything, and they feel it deeply. This is one of the defining traits of the INFJ personality type. Their empathy is not surface level. It is immersive. They do not just hear your story. They enter your emotional world. They feel your pain. They sense your motivations. They understand your fears. This emotional awareness creates a problem. When someone hurts them, INFJs rarely react immediately. Instead, they pause. Their mind begins analyzing. Why did this person do that? What are they going through? Did they mean to hurt me? Are they struggling inside? Did something happen to them today? Most people react with emotion first. INFJs react with understanding first. This delays anger, sometimes for a very long time. Because the INFJ mind is constantly searching for context, for meaning, for explanation. Even when someone behaves badly, even when someone crosses a boundary, INFJs often try to see the wounded human behind the behavior. They think like psychologists, like observers of human nature. And because of that, their anger becomes complicated. They feel hurt, but they also feel compassion. And those two emotions clash inside their mind. So instead of expressing anger, they absorb it. They swallow it. They tell themselves something. Maybe they did not mean it. Maybe they are having a hard time. Maybe I should be patient. This inner dialogue continues. Days pass. Weeks pass. Sometimes years pass. And the anger stays hidden. But hidden anger does not disappear. It simply waits. Waiting quietly inside the INFJ emotional landscape. Another reason INFJs hide their anger is their desire for harmony. Harmony matters deeply to INFJs. Peaceful environments make them feel safe. Conflict drains their energy. Arguments feel chaotic, emotionally violent. When tension fills a room, INFJs feel it instantly. Their emotional radar turns on. They sense every shift in tone, every change in mood, every unspoken tension between people. This heightened awareness makes conflict extremely uncomfortable. So INFJs often choose the peaceful path, even if it costs them emotionally. They become the mediator, the listener, the calm voice in the room. They try to understand everyone. They try to restore balance. But here is the hidden cost. When you constantly preserve harmony for others, you often sacrifice your own feelings. INFJs know this. But they do it anyway. Because their instinct says something. Protect the peace. Avoid the conflict. Do not make things worse. So anger becomes something dangerous. Something disruptive. Something that could destroy the emotional atmosphere. And INFJs hate that idea. They do not want to be the source of chaos. They do not want to hurt others with harsh words. They do not want to damage relationships. So they suppress the anger. They keep it behind a calm face, behind gentle words, behind patience. But suppression has limits. Eventually something begins to change. And when that change happens, people are surprised. Very surprised. Because INFJs also have something called emotional endurance. INFJs can tolerate a lot. More than most people realize. They are patient. Very patient. They believe people can grow. They believe people can change. They believe mistakes can be forgiven. This belief keeps them invested in relationships longer than many others. Even difficult relationships. Even unhealthy ones. Because INFJs see potential. Potential in people. Potential in situations. Potential in the future. They often stay longer than they should. Hoping things will improve. Hoping communication will deepen. Hoping respect will grow. But patience can slowly turn into silent suffering. Because while the INFJ is being patient, they are also remembering everything. Every disrespectful moment. Every emotional wound. Every broken promise. INFJs have powerful emotional memory. They rarely forget how something made them feel. And each small disappointment adds another layer. Another quiet weight on their heart. Still, they do not explode. They continue observing, analyzing, processing, trying to understand, trying to fix things internally. But there is a limit to this endurance. And when the limit arrives, the reaction is not loud. It is not dramatic. It is something else. Something INFJs are famous for. Something people rarely expect. It is called the INFJ door slam. The INFJ door slam is not impulsive. It is not emotional chaos. It is the result of accumulated silence. Years of suppressed anger. Years of patience. Years of emotional analysis. Then one day, something inside the INFJ becomes clear. Very clear. They realize something important. This relationship will never change. This person will never respect my boundaries. This situation will continue hurting me. And in that moment, the empathy that once protected the relationship fades. Not completely, but enough. Enough for the INFJ to protect themselves. And when that decision is made, the door closes. Quietly. Completely. No shouting. No dramatic scene. Just distance. Cold silence. Emotional withdrawal. For the outside world, it feels sudden. But for the INFJ, it was a long time coming. Sometimes years. Because the anger was never visible. It was internal. Hidden under compassion. Hidden under understanding. Hidden under patience. But once the INFJ reaches that breaking point, the anger finally transforms. Not into aggression, but into boundaries. Strong boundaries. Clear boundaries. Permanent boundaries. And this confuses many people. They ask the same question. Why didn't you say something earlier? Why didn't you tell me you were angry? But from the INFJ perspective, they did say something. Just not loudly. They hinted. They explained gently. They tried to communicate calmly. They hoped the other person would notice. But many people miss subtle communication. Especially the quiet signals INFJs use. And when those signals go ignored, the INFJ retreats deeper inside. Their anger becomes even more private, even more hidden. There is also another psychological reason INFJs hide anger. They fear becoming someone they are not. INFJs care deeply about integrity, about values, about identity. They want to be kind. They want to be wise. They want to be emotionally aware. Anger can feel like a threat to that identity. Because society often portrays anger as destructive, selfish, out of control. INFJs do not want to be seen that way. So they try to manage their anger internally. They analyze it like researchers. They ask themselves questions. Is this anger justified? Am I overreacting? What is the deeper cause? What can I learn from this feeling? This self-analysis is powerful, but it also creates emotional delay. By the time the INFJ finishes processing their anger, the moment to express it may already be gone. And the cycle continues. More silence. More internal reflection. More hidden emotions. Yet something important must be understood. INFJs are not emotionless. They are not passive. And they are definitely not weak. In fact, their emotional world is incredibly intense. But it is also incredibly private. Like an ocean beneath calm water. You may see the peaceful surface. But underneath, currents are moving. Memories are forming. Patterns are being analyzed. And decisions are slowly taking shape. Understanding this is key to understanding the INFJ personality. Because when an INFJ hides their anger, it is not because they do not feel it. It is because they feel too much, too deeply, too thoughtfully, too carefully, and they are trying to protect something. Peace, relationships, or sometimes their own heart. Hidden signs an INFJ is angry. INFJs rarely show anger in obvious ways. They do not usually shout. They do not slam doors. They do not create loud confrontations. Instead, their anger moves quietly, almost invisibly. But there are signs, subtle signs, and if you learn to notice them, you begin to understand the emotional world of the INFJ personality type. The first hidden sign is silence. Not normal silence, but a different kind. INFJs are naturally quiet people. They enjoy calm spaces. They enjoy reflection. But when an INFJ is angry, their silence changes. It becomes distant. Short responses appear. Conversations become brief. Words become careful. You may ask a question. They answer politely. But something feels missing. The warmth. The openness. The emotional depth. It slowly fades. This is often the first signal of hidden INFJ anger. The second sign is emotional withdrawal. INFJs are usually deeply present in conversations. When they care about someone, they listen fully. They ask thoughtful questions. They remember details. They make people feel seen. But when anger begins to grow, that emotional presence begins to disappear. They still show kindness. They still show respect. But their emotional energy is no longer there. It is as if a light slowly dims. The person is still there, but the warmth is fading. The third sign is observation. INFJs always observe people. It is part of their intuitive nature. But when they are angry, their observation becomes even more intense. They start noticing patterns, repeated behaviors, broken promises, emotional inconsistencies. Their mind begins connecting dots. Quietly, carefully. They are not looking for reasons to attack. They are looking for clarity. They are asking themselves a deeper question. Is this relationship healthy for me? Is this person capable of change? Is this situation worth continuing? This phase is important because many people think the INFJ is calm, but internally, major emotional decisions are forming. The fourth hidden sign is reduced vulnerability. INFJs normally share their inner world slowly, but when they trust someone, they open up deeply. They talk about ideas, dreams, meaning, life philosophy. But when anger grows, that openness disappears. The INFJ stops sharing personal thoughts, stops sharing feelings, stops inviting the other person into their inner world. And when that happens, the emotional bridge between two people begins to collapse. Quietly. The fifth sign is emotional fatigue. INFJs absorb emotional energy from their environment. They carry other people's feelings. They offer support, guidance, understanding. But when anger remains unspoken for too long, it creates internal exhaustion. You may notice the INFJ becoming tired. Not physically tired, emotionally tired. They may withdraw from social events. They may spend more time alone. They may seem distracted or distant. This is not simply introversion. This is emotional overload. Because hidden anger consumes mental energy, constant analysis, constant reflection, constant emotional management. Eventually the mind becomes tired. The sixth hidden sign is gentle confrontation. This may surprise many people. INFJs do communicate their feelings, but they do it softly. They may express concern. They may ask thoughtful questions. They may say something like, "I felt hurt when that happened," or, "I think something in our communication is not working." These moments are important. They are opportunities. Opportunities to repair the relationship. Opportunities to show respect. Opportunities to listen. But many people dismiss these gentle signals. They minimize them. They brush them aside. And when that happens, the INFJ retreats even deeper. Because they feel something painful. They feel unseen. And when an INFJ feels unseen for too long, something inside them begins to close. Slowly, quietly, until one day, the door closes completely. What happens when INFJs finally explode? INFJs rarely explode. But when they do, it surprises everyone. Because the calm personality suddenly shows intensity. Not chaotic anger. Not uncontrolled rage. But something powerful. Something direct. Something honest. When INFJs finally express their anger, it often comes after long emotional buildup. Months. Sometimes years. Of quiet patience. Of trying to understand. Of trying to forgive. But eventually something shifts. Clarity appears. The INFJ realizes something important. The pattern will not change. The disrespect will continue. The relationship has become unhealthy. And in that moment, the INFJ stops holding everything inside. They speak. And when they speak, their words are precise. They describe patterns clearly. They explain behaviors calmly. They point out contradictions. They reveal observations that may have been forming for years. People often feel shocked. They may say something like, "Why didn't you say this before?" But the truth is, the INFJ did say something before. Just more gently, more subtly, more patiently. Now the patience is gone, and honesty finally appears. But even in this moment, INFJs rarely lose control. Their anger is controlled, focused, clear, sometimes painfully clear. And after this moment, something else often happens. Distance. Because once an INFJ expresses anger openly, they often realize something else. They have already emotionally detached. The relationship has already ended inside their mind. This is why the INFJ door slam can feel sudden to others. But internally, it has been developing for a long time. When the door slam happens, the INFJ removes emotional access. Not out of cruelty, but out of self-protection. They stop explaining. Stop investing energy. Stop trying to fix the situation. They move forward quietly. And once this boundary is created, it is rarely reversed. Because the INFJ has already processed the entire relationship internally. Why INFJs forgive but never forget? INFJs believe strongly in forgiveness. They understand human weakness. They understand emotional pain. They understand that people make mistakes. Because of this empathy, INFJs forgive more often than people expect. But there is something important to understand. Forgiveness does not erase memory. Especially for the INFJ personality type. INFJs have powerful emotional recall. They remember how moments felt, how words sounded, how actions affected them, even years later. This memory is not about revenge. It is about awareness. INFJs learn from emotional patterns. They remember what hurt them. They remember who respected their boundaries. They remember who dismissed their feelings. This memory shapes future decisions. It influences trust. It influences closeness. It influences emotional safety. So while INFJs may forgive someone, they may never trust that person in the same way again. The emotional distance remains. Quiet, but real. And this is often misunderstood. Some people believe forgiveness means returning to the same level of closeness. But INFJs understand something deeper. Forgiveness is about releasing resentment, not ignoring reality, not repeating harmful patterns. Forgiveness allows the INFJ to move forward emotionally, but memory protects them from future harm. This balance between compassion and awareness is part of the INFJ emotional intelligence. They care deeply about people, but they also learn deeply from experience. Healthy ways INFJs can express anger. For INFJs, learning to express anger in healthy ways is very important. Because hidden anger creates emotional pressure. And emotional pressure eventually needs release. One healthy method is honest communication. INFJs often wait too long to express discomfort. They try to solve emotional problems internally. But healthy relationships require open dialogue. Saying something simple can prevent years of frustration. Statements like, "That comment hurt me. I feel uncomfortable with this situation. I need more respect in this conversation." These small expressions can protect emotional health. Another healthy outlet is creative expression. Many INFJs naturally use creativity to process emotions. Writing, journaling, music, art, storytelling. These activities allow hidden emotions to move outward. They transform inner pressure into meaningful expression. Solitude is another powerful tool. INFJs recharge through quiet reflection. Spending time alone helps them understand their emotions. It helps them organize thoughts. It helps them gain perspective. But solitude should not replace communication. It should support it. Setting boundaries is also essential. INFJs often prioritize others too much. They give emotional support, time, energy. But healthy boundaries protect emotional balance. Boundaries are not selfish. They are necessary. They create respect in relationships. They prevent resentment from growing. Another important step is self-compassion. INFJs sometimes judge themselves harshly for feeling anger. They believe anger conflicts with kindness. But anger is a natural human emotion. It signals that something important needs attention. Learning to accept anger as information, rather than something shameful, allows INFJs to process emotions more peacefully. And finally, INFJs benefit from surrounding themselves with emotionally mature people. People who listen. People who respect boundaries. People who value honest communication. In these environments, INFJs no longer need to hide their anger. They can express emotions safely. And when that happens, their empathy becomes a strength rather than a burden. INFJs hide their anger for many reasons. Empathy, a desire for harmony, emotional endurance, deep reflection. They do not want to hurt others. They do not want to create chaos. They want understanding. They want growth. They want meaningful relationships. But when anger stays hidden too long, it transforms into distance, into boundaries, sometimes into the famous INFJ door slam. Understanding this emotional pattern helps us see INFJs differently, not as mysterious, not as overly sensitive, but as deeply thoughtful individuals navigating a complex emotional world. Their anger is not loud, but it is real. Their silence is not weakness. It is reflection. And when an INFJ finally chooses to walk away, it is rarely impulsive. It is the result of long inner consideration, years of patience, years of observation, years of hoping things would change. So if you have an INFJ in your life, listen when they speak softly. Notice the subtle signals. Respect their feelings before silence grows too deep. Because behind their calm presence, there is a powerful emotional depth. And when that depth is respected, INFJs become some of the most loyal, insightful, compassionate people you will ever know. But when that depth is ignored for too long, they may simply disappear, quietly, closing the door, and continuing their journey toward peace.